What is up, my ninjas? This is Strident, and I'm back. It's been a little while. Things have been busy around here, but I've come back with a whole bunch of stuff for you. As you see pictured here, this is Cobra Command, or Cobra. These are pretty much the guys that, in some way, shape, or form, over, I don't know, my entire life, you know, when I was a kid, and even when I was a little older and I was collecting 12-inch figures, G.I. Joes in general, these were a lot of the characters. Some of them are brand new. I just saw them and I thought they were slick. So this is the main crew that my son and I have causing problems for people having the Joes fight. They are led, obviously, by Cobra Commander. There is one of the 25th anniversary remixes of the, I want to say after G.I. Joe the movie, Cobra Commander, when they turned him from a snake back to a humanoid form. There's the a repaint of the Resolute Cobra Commander. I actually like those colors better because, I mean, Cobra's color, the Cobra is on the symbol, their Cobra symbol is red, and the majority of their costumes involve dark colors, so it just looks better. But this is the Rise of Cobra, Cobra Commander. You know, at first I didn't like it because it just looked like it was too far from what we knew. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know, for a boss of a criminal organization, it kind of makes sense. He pretty much comes with those three accessories. One looks like a nanite syringe, a communicator of some sort, and the gun that almost all the Cobra Commanders since the 25th anniversary figures have come with. Just looking at his face, he's got a ton of detail. And that armor, it's like, damn, I don't see a lot getting through that. At least not easily. I like the detail on his sleeve and the stripes. That it's, I don't know if it's stripes or it's more of a heavy textured coat. You know, I don't want to say burlap, but it's something heavy because you can see the little divots in it. You can see the ridges. It's like I want to say corduroy, but that's not, probably not what they were trying to simulate. It's like thick leather, I guess. Overall, though, the design is starting to grow on me. Actually, after reading a lot of the IDW books and seeing how the commander is covered or colored and, you know, drawn in those in that world, he seems to fit perfectly, you know, when I'm looking at him with my figures. So overall, like I said, lots of detail. The face has the transparency thing going on that Shadow Tracker had. As you can see, you can kind of see him in the background. You can't remove the plastic, you know, face covering. I think you could if you work at it, but the figure probably won't be the same once you're done, unless you're, you know, a professional, and I'm not that good at customizing. I do very light customs, and you know, I'm gonna leave it at that. But overall, this design is pretty slick. I know a lot of people hated the movie, and I loved aspects of it because in the end, no matter how bad the movie is, you end up with slick figures and slick vehicles, because that's pretty much what the purpose of G.I. Joe in any other media is for. The purpose is for it to get you to buy their toys. Like I said before, the armor, that's some sick armor. For some reason, he feels like someone that should be in Blade. You know, like a vampire with some sick armor and the smoker jacket. It's just the style doesn't seem like the first thing I would think of when I think of a military, halfway sci-fi military, you know, fantasy military drama, action, or whatever you want to call it. And look at those shoes. Those pimped out. They look almost like wingtips or Doc Martens or something, but I don't know. They gave him some style. This is a cool figure. Pardon moi for the dust. Yeah, I was being lazy. But anyway, there's the nanite syringe, or nanomite syringe. This is what he used, I think, on, you saw him use it on several people, injecting nanites or nano machines into people's bloodstreams. It's kind of a strange, I don't know, like for something that your figure should be using, it just seemed like I would have rather he had one of those plasma guns. You know, I'm talking about the pulse pistols, but it's not bad. it's a little menacing in a sense. It's got a huge syringe, and that thing looks like it would leave a scar. It doesn't look like something fun to be dealing with, so I guess it fits. He's not that kind of a cool guy in that sense. There's the pistol that all the other Cobra Commanders came with. Well, the majority of them did, especially in the 25th anniversary line, except for the powered suit Cobra Commander. And unlike those, you can't stick this gun in his back. There's no peg to, you know, hook the gun to his back. But you know, it's good. You could pretend that this is like a plasma rifle or a plasma cannon or a high-powered pulse pistol or something, like a different version than what like the Baroness had. But you know, overall, it helps add to the menace that this character should have, because you know he's supposed to be like a mastermind, especially in comics. And there he is squaring off with Hawk, good old Hawk. I don't know. He seems to be a good nemesis, you know, with some more thought to it. Because when the movie came out, I hated all this stuff. But with some more thought to it, he seems to be a decent character. Now, the communicator thing, whatever that is, and the nanite syringe both clip onto his legs. There are holes and pegs, just like with the majority of other, you know, G.I. Joe figures from various lines, and you just hook them up as such. They don't. You have to kind of force them though. The peg is a little bit bigger than the hole, but whatever. It eventually works. I still don't like this communicator thing. It reminds me of the communicators that Shredder and Krang and them used to run around with in the old Ninja Turtles show. But I don't know. If you can find a use for it, find a use for it. He can't hold it unless you hold it by the very edge, which kind of looks stupid. It's like he's holding a beer or something. So, I don't know. That's going in the bin of random shit, and it probably will be used for something else. Maybe a 12-inch figure. It could be a cell phone or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. There's the syringe hooking. It's too big. It doesn't look like something he would just have hooked on his leg, hanging there. As well dressed and as well thought out as his costume is, I just don't see it. So, I'm throwing that one in another thing. And there's the pulse pistols I was talking about. And there's his big old pistol too. So, you know, you kind of see the difference. His is way bigger than that one, so it kind of makes him look a little bit more badass. So, hey. Here he is compared to a couple of the older Cobra Commander figures. You got Valor versus Venom, and you also have some an early 25th anniversary Cobra Commander. Those three actually are my sons. We got those for him a long time ago. These three are mine. You've got the Mass Device 4-pack Cobra Commander, the Resolute, and the 25th anniversary second version. All in all, like I said, it's a badass design. At first I didn't like it much, but the more I thought about it and the more I saw it, the more it grew on me. And I think it might grow on you guys too. So if you see it, give it a chance. I found this for $3 at Marshall's. Anyway, here is the Doctor. Now, I jumped to the Doctor because if you've all seen the movie, as awful as it was, you know that the Doctor and the Commander are supposed to be the same person. So I figured it was only fitting I jump into it. So, as you can see here, the Doctor comes with a nice array of accessories. There's that robotic claw thing. There's the robotic hand thing he has. I'll jump to the face thing. I'll get back to the accessories. His face is pretty well sculpted. There's a detail missing if you saw the movie, but I'll get back to that. Accessory wise, like I said, robotic claw thing, some type of pneumatic delivery system of some sort in a pistol form. You got the glove, you got the case with the nanomachines, and you got that weird time worm thing. The case can open, obviously. The nanomachine canisters can come out, which is pretty cool. So if you want to have Cobra, you know, smuggling those things all over the place, you actually have a prop to use, which is nice. And it closes, and everything fits perfectly. There's no issues, you know. Sometimes you get those shitty cases that, I don't know, Cops had them, and some other figures had them too, and you're just like, for real? Even old G.I. Joe stuff had it. That one works. This is the glove I was talking about. I really don't know what it's supposed to be. I think in the movie he had some kind of weird hand or something, and this is supposed to simulate it. We just pretend it's some type of probe weapon, like a shock your brain hand or something. I don't know what to call it, you know. It fits over his existing hand. You just clip it onto his hand. There's kind of an indentation or an imprint carved in there or carved out of it, and you just push his hand down on it, and you've got this ginormous robotic looking hand. He came with 2 of them. I just didn't feel the need to bring both of them out. You guys get the idea. And this is supposed to be, I think, the machine arm that they use to move the canisters from whatever he uses to create the nanomachines to whatever he uses to deliver the nanomachines into people's bloodstreams. You've seen this thing was in the movie. You press down on that green button in the back and it opens up, kind of like the claw at the carnival or at, you know, Chuck E. Cheese and stuff. And it kind of has the same effect, because if you try to pick things up with it, it kind of just drops whatever you pick up, no matter how heavy it is. It took me a long time to get that to sit the way I needed it to sit for this picture. But, you know, like I said, if you're really good, like a action figure expert, and you make these crazy setups, you can find a use for that and make it work. Well, this is the time worm or time snake or whatever. It's like a scepter with a snake, you know, trying to reach the top. Now, I don't remember the significance of this from the movie. I don't really care. It's going in the box of random shit. It's nicely sculpted, though, I'll give him that. And it's such a small thing. Someone with some serious art skills and sculpting skills and OCD probably did this, and it's awesome. I'll give him that much. Now, this is I want to say one of the syringes that he uses to deliver nanomachines. I want to say it's the one from the end of the movie when he injected Destro with nanomachines. So it's really all the relevant information about this figure. I found this figure at Marshall's. Marshall's is like my best kept secret for collecting things, because they always have G.I. Joe stuff on clearance, and it's always like $3.99. Oh, there he is. I forgot. His hair comes off, because if you remember in the movie, he was burned, and his hair was all burnt off, and then at the end, when he reveals who he is, he takes all that stuff off and puts on the Cobra Commander mask. The hair, I put I mean, I'm an illustrator, so I usually use these kneaded erasers. I took a little bit of that gummy stuff, put it on the inside of the hair, and it sticks on well. You could do something like that. Now, here's the part I was talking about with the detail that's missing. Why couldn't they sculpt that monocle? It just seems strange, and I was looking at him in packaging, and I was like, where's the monocle? So, you know, small nitpick. And there's a size comparison. He's a little taller than Cobra Commander. And it's strange because they're supposed to be the same character. But, you know, it's no big deal to me, because I would prefer to make him something like Dr. Mindbender, you know? So, yeah, this figure is, you know, it's a decent figure. If you want to take some of these designs, which many of the designs from the movie were awesome designs. If you want to take the designs and put your own spin on it, you got yourself a Dr. Mindbender of some sort that actually is interesting to look at and not a cheesy character, and kind of freaky and creepy too, you know? So if you see him, and you see him for cheap like I did, pick him up, because he's not worth $26-30 bucks, you know, unless you really love the movie. Now here's my Joe team. I think I left out a couple of my drivers, but this is my Joe team. It's divided into 2 teams: the colors, which are the public team, and the Black Ops team, which you see is pretty much made up of the movie figures, and then they're all led by Hawk. This is the colors team, which is led by Beachhead, my favorite Joe of all time. I think he's the most badass Joe, and I noticed that I had so many of these colorful looking characters, more like what was in the cartoon, and I figured, how about I separate them and let them be a team? And then I had all these black suited costumed characters from the movie, and as you can see there, I changed Duke's head because I hate Channing Tatum as Duke. He's just so wooden and boring. But anyway, this is the Black Ops team. I made that custom shipwreck because I needed a sea operations expert, And here's General Hawk, whom I actually dug in the movie. I felt he did his part, and I like this design. I have the one with the jacket. I'll probably do a review of him later, the one that came with the pit. But anyway, that's the perfect look for Hawk to me, because he doesn't look anything like Duke. This is their newest recruit. His code name is SKYDIVE. SKYDIVE is one of the Pursuit of Cobra figures. He is their aerial operations specialist. He's pretty much a high-tech Halo jumper. I dig this figure. I dig it for two reasons. The main reason is, I mean, look at all the details on this figure. It's cool. I mean, he looks like very tactical, and then at the same time he has that futuristic edge. But then on top of that, I dig the figure because it was a design that was kind of scrapped for a version of Ripcord. So at some point when I get this figure, I'm going to make that version of Ripcord. But anyway, as you can see, they didn't spare any expense as far as detail goes. He doesn't really come with a lot of accessories, except for the fact that you can take off the chest armor and gear. You can take off the wings, you can take off the helmet, and he has a pistol that's removable. Proof that he is definitely a reuse of a shelved project is the fact that when you do take off his helmet, he doesn't have a face. He has just a black mask on. But anyway, you can see the paint apps are ridiculous. They're well done. You can see that all of the sculpting is on point to begin with, because I mean, what good is paint apps when you have a bad sculpt? It's awesome sculpt, awesome paint, and there's just details all over the place. And he looks like he would do exactly what he was created to do: jump out of planes at extremely high altitudes and fly around and do stuff, you know. So overall, I think this is an awesome figure. It's a very simple figure in the sense that it's not that much to him. He's your air operations guy, you know, high-tech Halo jumper. Now, there are the wings, full span. You press the button in the center and they pop out, which is kind of nice. It kind of reminds me of Tech Shield Batman, and I've already shown you guys that. I might go back and just focus on him. But anyway, there's a front view. It's just weird, you know. The paint is just so well done. They didn't just use one color plastic and say, you know, whatever color that is what color the wings are gonna be. You got two different colors, two different sets of paint apps. It's just, I don't know, it's nice. But anyway, that is his pistol, which is removable, in his leg, or leg holster. We pretend that this dude is, you know, good friends with Ripcord, and the two of them were partners back in the day in the Air Force. I really dig the functionality of this design. I mean, as you look at the gear and look at, you know, everything on his chest and all his buckles and pockets and whatnot, you can tell what's what. You know, you see ammunition, you see rations, you see on the back you'll see the parachute. It's like a miniature parachute. It's pretty slick. I mean, props to Hasbro for this, because they really stepped up their game as far as their sculpting goes. And I'm not saying that they were ever that they weren't always on point with their designs. It's just that there's been times where they took the easy way out and just reused parts. And I know these parts are probably the same parts from the Paraviper, or the Cobra Air Viper. I think that's what he's called, or Cobra Paratrooper. But somehow these work very well given the color scheme and the theme that they use for this character as well. So props to them for that. Overall though, there are a couple details that I'm kind of like, wow, what is this? Like on his boots, you see there's like handles. Now I wonder if that's to tie a parachute to, but I've never seen anyone parachute where the parachute is connected to their upper body and their legs. So I don't know what that's for. Maybe it's to haul things, but I don't see a person tying things to their feet to haul stuff. I mean, I really don't get what that detail's for. Maybe it's to pull him out of situations when you can, when you can't get him out of anything else. Like on the back of people's web gear and geez, they're bulletproof vests. But I don't know. I had a question about that. I didn't understand that. This is him without all the gear on, and you can clearly see that is a Pursuit of Cobra body with tweaks on it. You know, he even is wearing the colors that Ripcord is wearing in the game. There he is standing next to Ripcord, so you can see that chest piece and the lower half is exactly the same. It's just they changed his knee pads, and they changed obviously different colors, but he still got the reactive impact armor on his chest. Here he is, you know, pointing his pistol. There's no posability issues except for when you try to get him to hold a two-handed weapon. Machine guns, he needs to hold something long. See, you can see him holding this smaller standard issue assault rifle, but if you look at his wrist, the wrist facing you, you can see there's a gap. It's bending, and that will pop the peg that's holding it in. And the handle doesn't really sit properly in his hand, because in order for him to hold it with the other hand, you've got to kind of contort things, and that's not good for the lifespan of his hand. So, and I always check this because they're soldiers, you know. But if you give him something longer, there's less stress on that peg. I figure they're soldier characters, they better be able to hold the majority of their weapons, you know. And I've got a ton of extra weapons because I've had characters like Beachhead that just came with so much shit that I can share it with other characters, you know. But all in all, he's a perfect fit with whatever G.I. Joe team you have and whatever Joes you want to put him with. He's a really good figure as far as diversity in operations, you know, because there's a handful of you know, Air Force characters, and he seems to fit in perfectly with them, you know. And he's cooler than Crazy Legs. I always hated Crazy Legs. I had him for a while, and eventually he broke, but I always wanted someone cooler, you know. If you put a parachute on this guy, he's still pretty interesting. I don't know, he fits perfectly. We made him, he's part of our Black Ops team, and I put him on the Black Ops team simply because, I mean, he's dropping from crazy altitudes. He would actually fit better in their kind of ops. Plus, you know, he's wearing their gear, so I figured let's just throw him on that team. He'll be the brightest character on the team, but he would fit, especially, you know, if it's operation in the jungle. But yeah, like I said, not many problems with posability. Paint is awesome. He's actually a hard to find figure because I've only seen him twice. I omitted to mention that he comes with two missiles that sit up top there. But the two missiles, based on their shape, they obstruct the wings a little bit. So we just took them off, threw them in the box of shit. Yeah, so here he is, standing with the rest of the Black Ops team. And, I mean, I know he's a little bit brighter, but he's got a very specific function that solely, you know, involves him. So, I don't know, he'd be a fit on either team. I dig the figure. My son loves the figure. He's pretty durable. If you see him, pick him up. He is worth it. And we'll move on to the next one. Next up, we have Zartan, Cobra's resident master of disguise. This is from the Pursuit of Cobra line. And this version of Zartan is actually pretty well done. He's pretty freaky, and he actually seems like he would hang out in the swamp or, you know, maybe even in the desert. I mean, I know this particular one was fashioned as if he was running around in the desert. I gave him the 2 extra heads. Like I said, I hate Channing Tatum. And those 2 heads come from, one comes from the regular, you know, Rise of Cobra Duke, and the other one comes from Airborne, I think it was, from the Pursuit of Cobra, or I'm sorry, Rise of Cobra, one of the planes. Anyway, here's Zartan's little bird. It's some weird type of hawk with this strange headpiece. I'm not into, you know, bird taming or whatever, so I have no idea what that's for, but as you can see, the bird is so well detailed, it's ridiculous. And then that hat piece is really well detailed too. Zartan himself, I put those rubber bands to hold the hood down, and also keep the the knives from popping out. But everything works so well on this design, and the fact that he kind of sort of looks like Arnold Vosloo is pretty slick in my opinion. So here he is without his hoodie on and the tassels hanging and whatnot, and you can see they detailed him pretty well. It doesn't really show up so well, and I was hoping that it would show up better with my camera as I get closer, but there are like 3 little circular shapes painted onto his body. Well, actually it's more than 3. It's like, what, 8 of them? They're like chakra points or something, I don't know, but it's kind of weird because you don't notice it at first, and then you see it and you're like, what the hell is that? And for a G.I. Joe, that's a tiny little detail, and it's perfectly symmetrical and well done. Props to Hasbro for that. See, like, I tried to get up closer and you just end up getting a blurrier image. So yeah, hopefully the other ones it was kind of better, easier to see. I don't know. Zartan comes with a decent amount of accessories. Those little machete things he has are pretty nice. They made him seem like a very efficient killer, whereas depending on the version of Destro that you either read or saw, he's kind of in between. I mean, there are characters who he killed and they never show up again, but this version makes it look like everyone he's gone after he's actually killed, and he's pretty savage about it too. But they didn't go off with his musculature and make him like super Schwarzenegger ripped. Instead, they made him seem more real world, where he's physical. You can tell he's in good shape, but he's just not super ripped. Anyway, here he is wearing his disguise. Switch the head, put the extra jacket on, and put the little backpack, and you've got a whole different character. The thing that I thought they should have done is he should have been wearing like an old school G.I. Joe's costume, so that way you'd be like, with the symbol and everything, so that way Joe's would be like, oh shit, it's so and so, and it could be a figure from an older line that they didn't remake for Pursuit of Cobra or Rise of Cobra. That would have made more sense to me, but still, there he is with his head on the rest of the gear from the disguise. I like it, to be honest with you. I mean, we're not big on playing in the dirt, but desert scenes and stuff, it kind of fits. It's just, the problem with these disguises is that you use it once, you can't use it again. At least not on the same people. His gun is really well detailed. That's another thing about all these figures from Pursuit of Cobra. Their freaking guns have so much detail. No matter how big or small, they have so much detail. I mean, I guess detail is the name of the game for these newer G.I. Joe lines. I mean, they've been blowing me away as far as details and weapons and stuff go. And it's rare that you come across a Joe or a Cobra figure now that doesn't have this same high level of detail. I mean, even this second jacket has a ton of detail on it, I don't know, I gotta give them props. They've really, really went above and beyond what I expected them to be capable of doing for such a small line. I mean, and it's weird too because it's not really carrying over into the Marvel universe figures. Some of them are really well detailed, but the majority of them still look like crappy action figures because the bodies they sculpt on top of are kind of shitty. But I don't know. It's a stellar figure. It's a dope figure. It's a slick figure. It's probably the best Zartan figure that we've had in a while. The one from Resolute was cool too, but this one takes the cake. I mean, look at the texture in his hood. I mean, like, that thing looks worn. It looks like it's made out of leather that's been put through craziness. I figured him and Shadow Tracker would work together pretty well. The only difference is that one is in the jungle and one is in the desert, but they look like they would all hang out in the swamp or something, but the level of detail is crazy. I mean, it's better detail in this figure than some 6-8-inch figures, some 12-inch figures. It's like they've definitely shown us their ability with lines, you know, with G.I. Joes still in this size, because these still look better than a lot of the 12-inch ones. Sideshow is actually taking up the mantle of the 12-inch G.I. Joes and making them actually look like something, you know. But like I said, awesome figure, well done details, well done accessories. There's not much more to say. He's a perfect addition. I don't know why my brain's moving so slow. Perfect addition to your Cobra ranks. Pick him up if you see him. I see him kind of fairly often at Target. Pick him up if you see him. He's worth it. Very much worth it. Also, I forgot to mention his posability. As you can see from the pictures, there's really nothing lacking in the realm of posability. If you don't put a rubber band to hold down the hood, when you put him in some of these poses, the hood will pop off. But besides that, it's perfect. Anyway, moving on. I found the Pursuit of Cobra Cobra Shock Troopers the other day. As of this review, I have 4. When I shot this footage, I only had 2 of them. But I mean, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, they're gonna be the equivalent of Crimson Guard for me until they redo the Crimson Guard. They look like the lower budget versions of Alley Viper, but I always knew I was gonna get them because they are the arch nemesis essentially of Beachhead in this new situation, since he's the urban warfare specialist. As you can see, these guys come geared the hell up. They look like pretty much Cobra's own personal SWAT team. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it's just pretty much their SWAT team with Cobra all over the place. They don't carry any futuristic weapons. I think the most futuristic thing they have are their shock batons and their tasers. Besides that, everything else is pretty real world. But there you see, they look ready to deal with Beachhead. And Beachhead looks ready to deal with them. And we're going to have some fun. If I see some more of these guys, I'm going to pick them up. As you can see, they come with a ton of shit. And this is awesome. I got mine for about $8 at Target. I would try to find them at Target and not so much online, because online they're charging you upwards from $15 to like $30, and I mean, they're G.I. Joes. Yes, some of them are worth it, but I'd spend that kind of money on like a 9-inch figure or a 12-inch figure or something, but not so much on these guys, you know? And you want to be able to troop build, so you can't troop build when the characters cost, it's harder to do it when they cost $20 a pop and they're 4-inch, you know, almost 4-inch figures. This is your shock trooper without his mask on and with all the other gear off. I refuse to take off his, you know, bulletproof vest because judging from, I don't know, I don't think there's any reason to take off their vests. The vests are so well detailed. It looks like it's such a part of the design that there's no reason to remove that. You pretty much see the level of detail. It's superb. And for a figure so small, I keep saying it because it just keeps on blowing me away. It's just quality detail. I don't know what else there is to say about it. You can see every wrinkle is sculpted to perfection and then painted properly. They are all black, so it was a little difficult to light these things properly without making them look shiny. But, you know, they look like standard SWAT team members, and I like that aspect of them because it's what they do that will make them badass, not necessarily how they look, you know. And they look cool, don't get me wrong. They just don't look as crazy as like those Neo Vipers in the background or the Neo Viper Elite. These guys look like they're the lower level grunts. And I saw not too long ago that they actually are doing the Cobra Troopers, regular Cobra Troopers. They're wearing blue, got the helmet. They kind of look more like the Resolute Troopers, which I think is pretty cool because you need variety in your, you know, your troopers. But like many people have said before me, These guys are perfect to troop build. I wasn't really huge on that idea before, because you know, you get the same figure 20 times and it kind of feels like, what the fuck, you know. But you know, I actually am managing to find, you know, I do a little bit of shopping around, and my girl, she does a lot of shopping around for me, and we find deals on figures, especially when they're close to clearance. And like my Neo Vipers, I bought about 6 of them all at once for a penny a piece. I pretty much bought out everything that they had left when by the time I found them. So I hope that at some point they do that with these guys. The little communicator you see there, the walkie-talkie, it's removable. I super glued mine on because I don't want them falling off. You know, when you have them on display and they fall, and you know, little things happen, I don't want to be losing these pieces. So certain things like that I super glued so that they would stay and I won't have to worry about them. I love the new the Cobra writing or type face that's going off the side of the armor. It's nice. So here is how you build their helmets. So you first have this gas mask piece. The gas mask piece clips into the helmet like so. So you could move the helmet a little bit and the mask itself won't just drop off. Plus it helps hold the helmet on better. You can put the goggles on top. When I finished all this, I glued a couple of them together. I mean, I wanted each of these 4 soldiers to have, you know, some personality so they don't all look the same. There is the taser. It looks like an air taser because it's the pistol shaped one, or stun gun if you want to call it that. I like it. It's the most futuristic looking piece of tech they have on them. Besides that, they look pretty, you know, real world, which kind of is a sad point for me, but at the same time, in this case, it works, because they could pretend to be regular SWAT, and people wouldn't really notice the difference unless the Cobra insignia was there. But there's your MP5 or your HK5. It looks like an MP5. Really, really well done for such a tiny pistol, or a machine pistol. There is your new school AK. I like that. Up until this figure, I had never even seen this gun, and if I saw it, I didn't realize that that's what it was. They have the same articulation as the Snake Eyes version 4, Pursuit of Cobra Snake Eyes version 4, I think it is. So they have the extra wrist joint, which allows them to hold things. Here's their Benelli super shotgun. It's pretty nice. Perfect for room entry. Like I said, it's like they stepped right out of the pages of Rainbow Six Vegas, or right out of the game. You've got your stun batons. So one baton is just a regular baton, and the other one is a stun one, like a stun club. I don't know why they have them connected, because at first glimpse I thought they were nunchucks. Only thing I could think of as a reason for them to be tied together is storage, because you can clip them in their back and let them sit there. Here's a sledgehammer, another perfect tool for room entry, or just bludgeoning some unlucky individual to death. And then there's their penoplastic shield, Kevlar shield, whatever you want to call it. I use penoplastic because that's what they call that kind of stuff in G.I. Joe. But as you can see, you can pretty much have them set up to do some serious damage. And if you want them to be bodyguards to your Cobra Commander, I'm telling you, they fit perfectly. I mean, look at that. They look primed and ready to do what they need to do. I'm loving these guys. Straight up loving them. I think it's awesome how in their simplicity they still have a very complex set of, you know, details, and I like the fact that their articulation allows them to do just about whatever and assume just about any of the poses that you've ever seen SWAT officers take when doing certain things. So if you need to have a whole bunch of these guys pop in and beat the shit out of somebody, you can do it. As you see pictured here, there's the extra joint I was talking about that the Snake Eyes had. So it allows them to, you know, hold the gun properly, chamber the gun properly, and then with the other hand, you can aim it where you need to aim it, which is awesome, because not all these figures, not all the Pursuit of Cobra figures have them. But yeah, here's Alley Viper doing his thing with the rest of the team, which I think is pretty cool, because Alley Viper would be doing that sort of thing. But, you know, they look pretty prepared. I dig that. These guys, like I said, they're fairly expensive online. If you find them at Walmart or Target, I think Walmart they're like $7. At Target they're about $8. Pick them up. You know, if you want to have like a proper Cobra team, you're gonna need soldiers. And since we don't really see the old school Cobra troopers online for cheap prices like we used to, pick them up. These guys are serious. I mean, look at that. There's not much else to say about these guys. So anyway, this wraps up my set of reviews for these G.I. Joe figures that I picked up over the last couple months. Stay tuned for more. I'll be back, and as always, check out my website. Peace.